Okay, let's unpack this. Bitcoin. Right now, it's trading just above $107,000. And it just closed June at a record monthly high. So the big question is, what does July hold? Will this momentum keep going? Our mission for this deep dive is really to cut through all the noise. We're using the latest reports, technical analysis, sentiment models, everything you've shared with us to give you a clear map of what's happening.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is just how much information we actually have to work with. It's quite a lot. We'll explore this current sort of consolidation phase and the volatility everyone's expecting. We'll provide insight into those key price levels, the forces driving them, so you can really get a feel for the market's pulse.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about those key battlegrounds, the crucial support and resistance levels. On the support side, sources are pointing towards that $102,000 to $104,000 range. Think of it like a lower boundary, maybe a big demand zone.
Exactly.
And just above that, $104,000 to $106,000, that's acting like a technical floor. Holding this, well, it keeps things looking bullish, right?
Absolutely. And, connecting this to the bigger picture, these levels aren't just random numbers. They define these actionable zones. Below that floor you mentioned, that $100,000 mark.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not just a round number. It's a huge psychological and technical level.
A really big one.
Yeah. If that breaks, the risk of a deeper correction definitely increases. And then kind of the last resort, if things get really messy, we're looking down at $95,000. And that lines up pretty well with the 200-day EMA.
Okay, the 200-day, a key long-term indicator many watch. So that's a clear roadmap for the downside risks. What about the other side? Where's the resistance? Where might sellers step in? And what happens if we push through?
Good question. So for buying interest, that 102K to 106K zone we talked about, that shows really strong support historically.
Yeah.
Lots of buying interest there. And $100, if it gets tested, that's where you'd expect major accumulation, like a magnet for buyers. Conversely, for profit taking or maybe tactical shorts, $108,000 to $110,000 is that key resistance area. We've seen multiple failed breakouts there. It's tough.
Right, a ceiling.
Yeah, a ceiling. But if Bitcoin can manage a decisive break above $110K, then that 110K, 115K area becomes a really significant breakout zone. Targets could then shift pretty quickly, maybe $114,500, perhaps even $125,000. But that would also likely become a strong supply area too.
Okay, so putting all these levels together, what does this actually mean for potential July price targets? Our sources seem to sketch out a few scenarios. There's a bullish one targeting $114,500 to $116,000. That's if we get that breakout above $110. Some analysts are even looking higher, like $127,000.
Ambitious, but possible in a strong breakout.
Then there's a base or sort of neutral scenario that suggests we just keep consolidating, bouncing around in this current $107K to $110 channel, and the bearish view. That sees a breakdown below $106K, targeting $102K, $104K first, with increasing for $100K if the selling picks up, and then $95K is that deeper support.
Right. And this leads to, well, what's driving these forecasts? The technicals and sentiment are really crucial here. The relative strength index, the RSI, it's kind of neutral to slightly bullish, sitting around 53, 56. So importantly, no overbought signals yet. Plenty of room, potentially.
Okay.
And the Bollinger Bands are tightening up, like a coiled spring. That usually indicates a volatility spike is coming. Prices are likely about to make a significant move up or down.
That coiled spring idea really helps visualize it.
Yeah.
What other technical signals are standing out? And what about the broader market feel, the sentiment?
Yeah, great point. June's monthly close left what's called a pin bar. It has this long lower wick that's generally seen as quite bullish. It basically shows prices try to go lower, but buyers stepped in really strongly, rejecting those lower levels. Suggests accumulation.
Interesting. Buyers defending the price.
Exactly. And we've also seen an uptick in trading volume recently. That indicates growing interest, maybe more conviction from investors. On the macro side, things look supportive too. We're still seeing reports of institutional accumulation, steady ETF inflows. That's big capital coming in. Plus, history suggests July is often a decent month for Bitcoin. The median returns around 8%, adds another layer of potential bullishness.
Wow. Okay. That paints a very complete picture, bringing together the technicals, the sentiment, the macro. So summing it all up, what's the key takeaway for you, the listener, looking at July?
Well, the overall outlook seems to lean bullish, as long as that $104,000 to $106,000 floor holds firm. That's the key. A decisive break above $110,000 could spark a pretty rapid move towards $114,500, $116,000, maybe higher. The downside risk seems relatively contained above $100,000. But, losing that level would likely invalidate the immediate bullish case and bring $95,000 into focus. So for you to monitor for those early signals of a breakout or maybe a reversal, keep a really close eye on volume, watch that RSI, and pay attention to the daily closes, especially relative to $109,200.
What a deep dive into Bitcoin's July outlook. Really understanding these key levels, the potential buy and sell zones, the technical signals. It gives you a much clearer framework for navigating what looks like upcoming volatility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe something for you to think about. With Bitcoin consolidating near these record highs, what might that imply for the rest of the crypto market? And how could paying attention to these specific Bitcoin signals we discussed maybe enhance your own ability to anticipate moves in other assets you might be watching?